That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
Hello and welcome to Content and Capable, a podcast all about following your passions while still feeling like a proper adult. My name's Sam and I'm your host. Today I'm joined by Zach, one half of the Cabbages team. We spoke all about his journey being an artist and what he hopes to do in the future. Welcome to Content and Capable. It's lovely to have you on, Zach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm, happy to talk about what I do. It makes me feel like a real adult with real adult tendencies and responsibilities, and it adds it's a great lie at the very least.
Well, I was thinking back to the last time I had you on the podcast, and it was with Alex, and we were talking about your move down south, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, wow, a lot has happened between now and then.
God,
it's been
so
a
much.
long time.
There's a world of time between now and then.
So for those who don't know you, where might people recognize you from?
My name's Zach. I am half of the podcast My Cabbages. If you're a big Avatar fan, maybe check us out. We try to review the show and not take ourselves too seriously. That's the whole kind of MO of the jam. We're on break right now, but we'll be on season 3 in a few months. And I also occasionally make art and stuff.
And the art's what we're here to talk about. But just before we keep moving on to that, I do want to note that I did finish watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on my holidays.
Yeah, Alex told me. What episode are you? Pick an episode, dang it.
Yeah, I know, I've got to pick an episode, don't I? I've just sat down and started listening to at least the first 4 episodes of the podcast, which is a little wild. I do love how chaotic it is, because...
It's nuts. It's like back when I was just like, oh, what if I just went just crazy with editing power?
Yeah. And I love it because there is so much there, but I'm thinking about, could I replicate that? And then I go, no, there is no way I could replicate that on this.
I use Premiere, which is a whole ass video editing program, to edit a audio show. So.
To be honest, Premiere is my editing software of choice. I do use Audacity reluctantly, but
I just think, it sucks because Audacity just straight up has better. It's like when you're trying to make your voice sound as crystal clear and as nice as you can, Audacity just has better tools. But everything outside of that, when it comes to editing and stuff, is better with Premiere.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially then seeing the Audacity updates that are coming through now, and going, oh, it's kind of heading towards the right direction generally.
It's becoming more like Premiere every day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
one day it will become Premiere.
It's very esoteric conversation about sound software.
Yeah.
Kind of heard.
Yes. No, I feel like you and I could sit down and have our own software podcast where we just talk about different aspects of software.
Hey, listen to this drivel. That's the name of the podcast.
Yep. Yeah. But we're here to talk about your work with art. So, how did you get into art?
How did I get into art? It's people ask me questions like this. I always imagine myself like Ralphie from A Christmas Story, just what do you want for Christmas, kid? And he's like, yeah, I'd say honestly, it all goes probably back to Pokemon. I was drawing Pokemon. I realized I had a knack for replicating stuff, and I just really liked to draw Pokemon. And I'm sort of almost discovering this mid-sentence that, I think the start of me drawing was probably Pokemon. But, I carried the interest all through high school. I went to a magnet high school for with an art program. I went to college for art, which I sort of semi-recommend doing nowadays. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that later. I got out of it. I basically was the expediter at a shitty restaurant for a year. Not shitty. It's a very nice restaurant. I don't want to badmouth the restaurant. The restaurant was fine. I was just a very shitty expediter. Yeah. And then I got a job working on indie video game and my boss was very relieved because he didn't want to have to fire me because I was not good at the job. But yeah, I had the job. I got the job making. If you ever heard of 20XX, the sort of Mega Man roguelike game, there's a sequel now that I'm not really a part of, but I did most of the art for the first game and been on my own scrounging by freelance since then.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Like, I love hearing about this kind of stuff because you don't really expect to, see, regular everyday people, as some people would stereotypically say. You think like an artist who is their whole life is art, and then you see like people like you who are doing art but also doing like other cool things, and you don't get to see that very often because oftentimes you only see like one aspect of their life.
Well, I feel like, and this is partially just because of my own like sloth, but I feel like the people that you see the most of are the people that literally get up at 6 a.m. and they just draw for hours every single day, and they have at least a new piece every single day to put out on Twitter, to put on Instagram, to add to their Patreon, and it's such a weird catch-22, right? Because it's like you either get to have interests, you get to have a healthy work-life balance, or you get to have a following, which is basically what it comes down to. And that's not obviously a case by case. That's been my experience.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely see it. There are people I know who are like journalists, and they get up at ridiculous hours and like work their butts off, and like props to them for doing that. But I can't do that. That's not how I operate. I have a life. I have family stuff I've got to do, and I can't sit here and just do journalism the whole time because A, this podcast wouldn't exist, and B, I'd be pretty bored.
Yeah. It's like, I was watching an Aziz special yesterday. He did a new special where he just showed up at the Comedy Cellar and did a half-hour stand-up. It's really good. But at one point he says, he was talking to a comic friend of his who has a very healthy work-life balance and doesn't hate himself and stuff. He's like, what's your secret, man? And the guy was just like, you just have to be comfortable with making less money. And I was like, wow, that's so fucking true. So yeah, if you want to make enough to get by, and I don't know, I'm not here to recommend my lifestyle to the average person.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something I wouldn't go, yeah, this is something I recommend doing. It's not,
go for it. Just go put yourself out there and just trust that your skill is enough that you will attract a meal ticket that will allow you to pay rent this month.
Yay! You mentioned that you went to a magnet school. Now, unfortunately, I'm a dumb Australian, and I've only heard of them, but I've never really understood what they are. Can you describe what a magnet school is, in your experience at least? I have used Amerocentric language, my goodness. A magnet school, so traditionally in America, when you have a public school, you have a area around that public school that school services. You can send your kid there because you're in that school's zone. Yeah. And normally that's just how it goes. Whatever public school you're closest to, sometimes you're close enough to two and you can choose, but for the most part, you're just whatever school you're closest to. And magnet schools are we want to focus on a specific thing, and so if the kid wants to come be a part of that specific thing and get a little extra training in that area, then they can come from much farther away. So Tabsco, my high school, was not all that much farther away than my area. It was literally an extra 6 minutes on the road. Yeah. But yeah, it had an art program. It had a theater program. It had all these other different it was a high school for the arts. I don't think we had a good football team. No, I definitely we definitely have high schools for the arts, but two of them. And they're really notorious for being really toxic. So only the really rich kids go because they can survive toxic places. Whereas, me, who was an arts kid as well, went to a normal high school. Did you still have to do like normal schoolwork, like maths and English?
Oh yeah. No, it wasn't like Disney or Nickelodeon's Victorious or whatever. Like we still had like math and science and physics and what have you.
I could definitely imagine like a school going, we don't need the curriculum. Let's just go and teach exactly what the kids are interested in. Don't give them any options.
These kids don't need to know how to do their taxes. Fuck it.
These kids are in a developmentally vulnerable position and maybe need to explore other options as well as their interests.
Nah, we're gonna pigeonhole them into what they like as a child. Growing up, I always wanted to be a fire truck, and god damn it, I am researching metallurgy and figuring out how to turn myself into a fire truck. Dang it! Can't change my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very interesting because here in Australia, like we have art schools, but then like the vast majority of like normal schools, some of them will be just really good art schools. They got a really well constructed theatre or music program. And other ones will just be really great, have some really great maths and science labs. And you can choose to send your children outside the catchment zone. Some have more restrictive catchment zones than others. But other than that, it's like pretty low key, do whatever you want. Because it's not until uni that you really get to like explore what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm. I went to a art school that was very much like a self-expression, like make fine art kind of school, and not much more. Like I probably would have benefited more from like a design school that was just sort of like, this is how you make a realistic figure. This is how you drill yourself to become better at line work. And my school still had all those things, but it definitely had a bigger focus on like expression and which also benefited me. Listen, I'm not here to say that like art school sucks. All I'm saying is the debt from it sure does.
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays you can learn a lot of that stuff on like the internet. Like YouTube is such a powerful resource.
Yeah, you've spent a lot of your time and your career online as well. You mentioned that you went to college for art, and you made a quick mention, and I raised my eyebrows because I've heard comments like this before, that you don't necessarily 100% recommend it. What has changed since you were last in college?
I don't know. Youthful indoctrination. Just generally feeling more jaded. It's like, as you get older, you get more context, and the more context you get, the more you look back at things like more clearly. You have you always have the blur of the present when you're like trying to make decisions, and you're able to look back and say, you know what, like would I have traded my experience in art school? No, I made a lot of great friends. I learned a lot of really, really interesting things. I spent 4 concentrated years focusing on cultivating my creativity, which was invaluable. It was powerful. It is what led me to what I do now, because it was a great litmus test. It was like, if I hate, like, if I do this all day, every day for 4 years and I still don't hate it, then that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. But it was extraordinarily expensive. I got probably half of it covered by like scholarships and stuff, and it was still so expensive. Like I will be paying off my student loans for probably still decades at this point. And when you're getting into your 30s and you're trying to like start a life and like do things with the money that you have, most of which is like allocated into, obviously modern living is just outrunning your debts. That's basically all anybody does nowadays. But I think that if you really want to learn art, there are plenty of resources online, and furthermore, like everybody always just develops their own sort of process anyway. And while of course it's crucial to get like the fundamentals, to like learn how to because there are objective truths on what looks good and what doesn't look good when in terms of like taking a 3-dimensional looking image and like translating it to a 2-dimensional page. There are just objective rules about how to do that like effectively. But beyond that, like people always just kind of like do their own thing. They create their own styles. I've seen people, you'll see someone say something about art, and then a week later someone will completely break that rule and make a masterpiece. Like,
yeah. Oh, 100%. And it's like not even just visual art, you see it in all forms of artistic expression, whether that's writing, visual, or, audio. It's just quite interesting to see where people go because, for example, I was sitting down having a conversation with, I'll say an acquaintance. I wouldn't categorize him as a friend. Sure. I've known him for a year and a bit now. And
he's going to listen to this and go, "We're not friends." Oh no.
I really hope he doesn't listen to this. This is not, it's not that I don't not like him, but it's more the fact that I don't feel like I know him enough to be a friend. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, he was trying to convince me.
Just cut all this
shit. He was trying to convince me that, studying, doing a degree around voice acting, which he wants to get into, is useless. Like the paper is not worth, the degree is not worth the paper that his degree would be printed on. And to an extent, I understand and agree. I had, for example, friend of the pod Juice is, for example, friend of the pod Philomena is, in voice acting, but I don't think that they would have studied that at uni. In fact, I think they're studying something completely different. And I understand that. But he's studying chemistry to get money to then be able to go into voice acting. And I'm like, okay, I understand the process. I understand that, you don't agree that the degree will help. Great. Awesome. However, don't think doing something completely different when your passion is somewhere else is going to be the greatest idea. And there are more than one way to get into that particular profession. So...
Sure, but I would also say that like just like you said, there are more than one way to get into a profession, and some people find very like serpentine routes to the things that they love, and if that means going to school for something that you don't necessarily love but you're good at, so that you can like bank a marketable skill and be able to afford, because here's the true secret of art: all it takes is dedication and time. If you're willing to put in the time, and you have the financial stability to put in the time, which is the other big thing, is most people that want to get good at art can't get good at art because they spend too much of their time trying to, provide for themselves. And if you are willing to put in the time and you're willing to put in the work, anybody can get good at it. It's just like any other trained skill. But I think that there is merit once in a while in doing a thing that will be stable. And lots of people get into art that way. If you can bank enough stability and enough free time, like you can start anything. I've been trying to start a graphic novel for, over a year now, but with the podcast and with all the contract work that I feel, always obligated to take, because I've been through dry spots where you go 3 weeks without like getting a hit on any of your like work ads or anything like that, and it sucks. So
100%.
So you take jobs, and those jobs are not necessarily things that you really want to draw, but drawing is better than not drawing, so you take them. And that's great, but it leaves no time for the things that don't have an immediate payout, that don't have an immediate boon to your like living situation.
100%, yeah. And like, I find it like on one hand, I've got to remind myself not to gatekeep like the arts, because oftentimes I've been told this, and it's perpetuated in my mind that to become a musician, you've got to, study an instrument in high school, get really, really good at it, get into a university degree, do the university degree, and then land a job at a symphony orchestra or something. And that's not the way it works. And I'm constantly reminded of that. But I've also got to constantly check to make sure I'm not gatekeeping that.
Right. I had a friend who was in the Marines, I think, until his early 20s, and just one day decided, I think I want to learn to draw. And literally 2 years later, he was at SVA in Los Angeles, one of the most prestigious design schools in the country, just because he put in the time and he was willing to work at it.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really interesting. And I don't know, it gets to a point where, some of the arguments of, do we need a university degree for this? And I argue, at least for journalism, and to an extent music, I've got friends who are studying music as well. There are parts of the degree that are really, really important. And there are requirements of the degree that seem really stupid, but you look back on it and you go, actually, that's, fix this issue that could pop up in the future. And, I agree that it's really, really great. But I think there's a bigger problem underlying university degrees and the way that they use to get a job that needs to be addressed, because they're marketed as you'll get a job at the end, and that's not how it works.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think another big problem with the university system is these kids are literally children. They're 17 years old basically when they start looking for colleges, and it's many of these people, they don't even consider that there's another option out there. They're like, oh well, I'm an adult, or I'm a human being living in said country. I go to school, I get a diploma, I go to college, I get a degree, and I get a job, and I have a family, and 2.5 kids, and a car, and a dog, and then I die. And it's hard to break out of that. It really is. Especially when it's something as not stable as art. This idea that I'm just gonna go out and on my skill make enough money to pay my rent, and it's it's not easy, especially when you have a thing that already makes you money and you can live comfortably.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, I got a day job towards the end of last year that earns me a comfortable amount of money, and I'm very happy with where I am. I'm now at one stage I wasn't saving any money, and now I'm being able to put some money away to save for the future, or
same.
Plans I've got. But
who knows how long that'll last for?
Yeah, 100%. I'm due to finish my degree at the end of the year, and I'm looking at it going, this is great and all, but now I've got to then start from the bottom again and be earning, not half, but a significant percentage less of what I'm currently earning to take a junior position somewhere, rather than, the job I'm in currently, which earns me quite a bit more, and they're willing to pay me even more the more senior I get into the company. And it's well, do I, just go into the whole corporate thing, or do I just follow my passions? And it's really hard to tear yourself away from this makes me money and this makes my life a little bit more comfortable, to something yes, I'm willing and ready to, take the plunge into something and that is completely unknown.
It's tough. It's for me, I guess I don't physically do this, but I think of it I have a list of things that I want the most. And those things include making art for my full-time job. I don't want to go and wait tables for 8 hours and come home and be too exhausted to draw. That doesn't sound like a life that I want. I want to be able to sustain my own lifestyle, and I can live pretty cheap, and I can penny pinch and save money where I want to and where I can. And I'm comfortable with, sometimes not having stuff. It's feast or famine in this business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes,
100%, yeah.
Sometimes you have 3 things going at once, and you get like a 4th offer, and you're like, oh, I can't take that because I literally am spending all my time doing this other stuff. And then other times when you could use that 4th offer, like there's nothing there. So
yeah. 100%. So after you like finish college and everything, did you have that kind of decision where you were like, am I going to go take like as some people call like a proper or a normal job? Or did you go straight away, I'm just going to take the plunge and go straight into the freelance work?
Well, I spent the summer like looking for a job and like applying to a bunch of different game studios because I'm primarily a game artist. I do video game stuff. And I didn't get anything back because I was just some wet behind the ears, like brand new, like baby, like smooth brain out of college baby boy. And I ended up like I said, getting that job at a restaurant, like expediting in the back of house. And I would go to that job and I would do a lunch rush. I'd probably get there at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And I would get up at like 5 a.m. just so I could like, have a cup of coffee and like draw for an hour or two. And like, just, kept doing it. And then I found the indie job on Reddit. Was posting to a Reddit like work for hire message board and got the 20XX gig and was probably there for I think close to 4 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then that game ended, and that was a scary moment because I was moved out. I was on my own. I was renting with like 2 other people, and all of a sudden, like, boom, I don't have this very stable thing that I'd had for a very long time, and I had no idea what I was going to do. Alex and I were just hanging out as friends at that point. And I just started doing dumb, odd jobs. You want a picture of your dog, like, as a Simpsons character? Fucking great. I'll do it. You want you and your girlfriend to be Avatar The Last Airbender characters? Sign me up. I can do that. Like, just taking all the dumb gigs that I could, and, it worked.
It's very interesting because, that whole... being left to do things. Also, before I forget, Reddit really is the internet of the internet.
It is. That's such a good way of putting it.
It's just like a job on Reddit. Yeah, great. Awesome. We're going to fly past that.
Do you want to have freaky, crazy orgy sex? Well, check out our orgy in your area and you'll find it. You can organize anything on Reddit.
Oh, far out. Reddit is like, I am not on Reddit. I have an account, and I've attempted to be on Reddit, but I've always struggled because it's something, part of my social media stuff that I wasn't too exposed much to as a child. But really, like, observing it as an outsider is so fun.
You shouldn't post on Reddit. Don't do it. It's not a good idea, but...
No, yeah,
you're right that
it
is
somewhere.
The internet. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, being left a lot alone and just going, what am I going to do with myself? And the whole, well, I've got nothing better to do. Why don't I just go and start doing dumb shit? And it's like, well, I was like, that is such a interesting position to be in because you spend, when you're in like a proper job, you spend that whole time going, I wish I could take more time off. I wish I could, spend time on holidays or, you're working so hard.
Oh yeah, it is very much the opposite. I know where you're going with this.
And then you turn around and you go, well, what do I do with myself now? For example, I'm only a week into going back to work. And and my brothers aren't returning to work yet. One of them has just quit his job and taken up a new one, so he's waiting for all the forms and stuff. Actually, both of them have taken up new jobs. One of them's waiting for his forms and stuff to be processed, and the other one just had his start date pushed back again. And so they're sitting around, doing nothing. Yesterday, they decided to cut half the trees down in the yard, and I'm like,
what are they doing? What are they doing? Making an NFT?
Oh, I really, really, really hope not. I think I'd disown them if they made an NFT.
Listen, my neighbor adopted a bunch of ducks recently, like this past summer. It just came home with like 6 ducks, and he was just like, "Yeah, I thought they might like put him to sleep if I didn't take them. So here are the ducks." So the ducks live in his yard and float around and go to different yards to get treats, and they're ducks. He was like, I would love to start like some kind of duck NFT. And I was like, hey, listen, I hate NFTs. I think they are the dumbest, most like flagrant nothing burger in our culture, like forever. But I will design your NFT. I'm not going to miss out on like some idiot crypto bro spending $20,000 on my little doodle of a duck. Come, give me some of that cheddar, okay? I'm not above making NFTs, but I don't like them.
No, I have many issues with them, both morally and the whole legality, and I also think just in general things on the internet aren't regulated properly, and we're taking forever to do that. But I'm not a lawmaker, so I can't change that. I just get to tell lawmakers off for not changing it.
I should check my DeviantArt because I may already have started an NFT with how often the art is just like stolen from the internet.
Yeah. But it's quite fascinating sitting here. Me wishing I was back on holidays. My brother's still essentially being on holidays. I'm like sitting here going, I really want more time off, but I know if I take the time off, I'm not going to do anything. Like, to me, I've got to be doing something when I take time off, otherwise I feel guilty for taking it off.
Oh, I'm the exact same way.
We had, for example, our national public holiday, Australia Day, which has many issues around Indigenous rights and everything.
Sure.
But it's a public holiday nonetheless. People want to change the date and things like that. But we had the public holiday, and I had the option to take the day off. And after working on Monday and then not working Tuesday, I was like, I need to take another day off. So I took Wednesday off, and to be honest, didn't do much. Felt guilty for not doing much. And so then I felt guilty for taking the day off, even though I probably needed it just to like ease myself back into work a little slower rather than, diving straight back in. But I just, it's just so hard to get out of that mindset of you must be busy when you can take that time off or take that time to work on things slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to balance stuff. Me personally, if I'm not like working on a thing, I'm anxious. I'm like actively anxious if there's not like something I'm working on, which is why I so rarely get the chance to like actually sit down and watch new media, because I'm like, I need to watch something that I've seen before so that I can be drawing or working on something or planning a D&D campaign or whatever else that I want to do with the very limited time that I have. It's nerve-wracking. You're right, it's the opposite. It's like when other people are like, oh, I get to have a week off. I'm just so excited to just lay around, and I'm sitting here going like, I haven't worked in a week. Like, how am I going to pay rent? I need a job right now.
It's the same here. While, I've got a stable job that gives me very stable paychecks, which is great. Whenever I take the time off, I'm like, I've got 1,000 things to do with the podcast. I've got to re-record this. I've got to fix this up. I haven't edited any of the episodes yet. I've got to get that done so I can be a little bit ahead of the curve. And then even if the podcast stuff is sorted, I'm behind on the uni stuff, or, I run 2 university clubs at the moment, and it's like, what stuff do I need to get done with that? We just had a funding round close, and I was treasurer, and I was putting money, getting a grant sorted, and I'm like sitting here going, every spare second I need to be like thinking about something, because I don't have time to sit around and do nothing.
You ever play Stardew Valley, Sam?
No, I really should.
It's a
And
really
a lot
great
of people
game.
have told me to. Yeah.
But that game starts out as like, oh, look, I can just walk around and I can talk in the town and I can chat with people and oh, look at all these things. I can go fishing. How fun is that? And it ends up being like, oh my god, if I don't get up right this second and water all my plants, I won't have enough time to water half of them and they won't grow and then I'll have to go and do the thing. And it's like there's just not enough hours in the day to do all the stuff that you want to do in that game. And that's life. That's life.
Yeah.
I don't want Stardew Valley to sound like some kind of like stress-induced like fever dream. It is a very chill and relaxing game, but the scheduling is
Yeah. A lot of my friends have recommended that I play that to de-stress a little bit. Maybe I need to take them up on that offer.
It's just nice to be able to like, well, I gotta water my plants. I gotta go to Pierre's to get seeds, and I gotta do this thing, and like have a little routine that you do every day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's nice.
So after your job had wrapped up and you were just doing freelance work, how did you form some sort of process so that you felt like you were consistent enough in the work that you didn't have to go and do something else to supplement, income, or, I'm not doing enough and so I'm not like fulfilled enough or whatever?
I'd say that I would prioritize more long-term projects. There are certain things that people just kind of want a one-off piece, or they want like 2 or 3 pieces, which are fine. They all contribute to rent. There were several times where like normally I do, depending on the size of the piece, I'll do like half beforehand and half after. And once in a while I will just do upfront, it's all standard stuff. But I remember at some points being like, hey, this payment is upfront, and it's literally because I need to go out right now and buy groceries.
That's a little stressful.
Yeah, but I would get like, indie projects, things that some of which, will never see the light of day just because of how many people start things these days. But, I would get gigs doing like characters and like animations and background art, and like if it was an indie video game, like that could last a month, or it could last 8 months to a year. Indie board games, anything that like required a big set of art to be done, I was like, I'm your man, because that's paychecks. And it's just about like deciding how much your time is worth and getting at least that much for it. And if you can get at least that much for your time and stay consistently busy, then you'll do okay.
Yeah. And so what are you doing nowadays?
So this is probably one of the stranger gigs that I've been doing. I've been very stable for the past like 8 months doing. I do art for Among Us mods. So this YouTuber named Sunday, who's great fun. If you're 12 to 14, go check him out. But their group are great fun. They're very wholesome folks. But they get together every week, sometimes 4 times a week, to play Among Us, and then they film those. They stream that stuff. They film it, and then they put it out on YouTube. And I want to make it very clear that the mods that I am making are not mods that other people are playing. It's just mods that this group of YouTubers are playing. And they're playing this custom mod for just them, and then they're putting it out on YouTube. And the views from the YouTube videos are what are like funding the whole operation. The revenue from YouTube. Which is wild to me. I can't think of the last time I've like... This mod doesn't have to be fun to play. It just has to be fun to watch. As long as it's fun to watch, like we're good. We're in the clear. So I've done a bunch of different. I've done everything from like a Toy Story mod to one time we did the hand mod. Everybody were hands. Mm-hmm. Like we had this big like they do like rock paper scissors in the middle like. All kinds of we had a Train Your Dragon mod. Go over there and poop, please. Don't poop on my computer screen. Thank you.
What was it like? What is it like working for a YouTuber? Like you hear lots of stories, not usually very good, about the way YouTubers kind of treat their employees. Pesky bird.
Yeah, he's a pesky boy. I mean, my experience has been great. Sunday's, he's fine to work for. I get as much or as little work as I want usually, and it's hourly, so it pays pretty decently. And yeah, I really had no complaints. Like, I know that it has been hard for other people working with like big YouTubers, and sometimes the sort of cult of personality can be like a thing. But like,
yeah,
as far as I know, like Sunday's been great. Pay's been steady. The work's been fun. It's been a positive experience.
Yeah, and that whole creating video game mods, there's a lot of like small animations and that. Have you dabbled in that animation stuff, or is there someone else working on that?
No, I would say at this point I'm predominantly an animator. I do animation for most of the work that I do. So it started as art. I don't think I took a single animation course in college, and all the animation like training has sort of been self-taught like throughout the years. I learned as a necessity for 20XX because like he didn't want to hire an artist and an animator, and so it's interesting. Like in the job that I do now, there's probably like 15 to 20 of us, and we all get different tasks on these big spreadsheets as we plan these mods. It all happens very like remarkably fast for like the operation that is behind this YouTube channel is like truly inspiring. But there are people that just animate, and there are people that just do visual art, and very few people are like in the middle. So I it's weird. I found a very positive niche, which is like if you can niche, which is if you can do the visual art and then animate it, then you're like a one-man show almost. So
yeah. Would you ever consider, not that I'm trying to employ you, B, not that like, you say your job's really great, so I don't think you
sure, Sam. I'll be your editor. Let's talk hourly wages and.
No, but like, would you like the work that you've done here? Would you ever consider like taking and doing that similar work in the future, or would you look to do something different again down the road?
I think ultimately, yeah, I want to do like graphic novel stuff. So, I just, it's been great cultivating a skill set that I've found to be like profitable enough to sort of get by and make my way through the world for the most part. But I really would like to make the most of my money off of something that I'm creating, like for myself, whether that be a graphic novel or like an indie project that I'm doing with fucking Game Maker in my spare time. Like I want the primary thing I'm doing to be a thing that I am creating out of whole cloth, not something not executing someone else's vision, which has its own challenges and rewards. But I've been wanting to create something myself.
And have you tried to do it outside of your work, and then like it's almost like a side hustle in the same industry of doing your own thing, or has that kind of been unsuccessful?
It's just the thing that like you have to accept that for at least the first very long time, it's not going to be a thing that you like make money from. So all that time that I would normally spend playing Ghost of Tsushima or some other cool new video game that I just love because fucking I also love to play video games. It's a trade-off. It feels like you have to. I love making art for video games. I rarely have the time to sit down and play them. And I have to sacrifice that time if I want to make personal work, which I do. So
yeah, wow. Is there anything else like around creating art that I have forgot to brush up on?
In general, I just say like if you want to make art, then like make art and just it's a long, arduous road. It's got its pitfalls. It's very rewarding. The difficult thing is starting out, because you're just gonna make shit. I'm sorry, there's just no like nice way to say that. You're just gonna make shit for a long time. You're not gonna make good art. But all of that shit is informative. It's all leading to eventual good art. And you ask any artist that has ever made anything, and they will tell you that you got to put in your licks. You have to get through the bad stuff before you can start making the good stuff.
Yeah.
And the more bad stuff you make, the faster that you fail, the more, it's like Thomas Edison came up with 100 ways not to make a light bulb. It's like you will learn all of the things not to do because you will commit those mistakes one by one, and they will feel bad. But then the next time you start a new thing and you start with the knowledge that you're not going to do the past thing, like it's incremental. It just takes time.
It's really interesting. And like, you've from your podcast, you've done other creative things that are outside of your scope of expertise, and I just find it very fascinating. The whole, you got to keep going at it until it becomes better and it becomes viable. Yep.
You just keep on bashing your head against the brick wall until you see a crack in it. And it sounds maybe a little more bleak than I mean it. All I mean is, like, there are going to be lows and highs. It's not all going to just be like, oh, I want to draw a dragon. Hoo-hoo, awesome dragon. Look at my awesome dragon. Like, there's no shortcut. People are always trying to, like, YouTube. Oh, how do I get good fast? What's the secret to drawing faces? It's like, draw 5,000 faces. That's the secret. You just draw 5,000 faces and hate yourself by the time you're done. And you're better at drawing faces now. Congratulations. A little piece of your soul has drifted away, but you now are really good at the bridge of the nose.
Yeah. It's something that I don't think people who are like established in the creative industries often, well, they've lived it, but often when you go to talk about this, kind of stuff, you don't really think about, the amount of failure you've had right up until you start, making success or start feeling comfortable.
It's in a lot of ways, it's just like cooking. It's like cooking is the only difference is cooking is like much more of like a everyday life skill. So I feel like a lot more people are, and it also, I think in general, unless you are like me and are crazy and spend all of your life trying to become financially viable in art, cooking is just a skill that will serve you very well. And it's something that you just have to put in the time. You have to make a bunch of bad dishes and they'll eventually circle around to making good dishes. And you have to trust the process, because it's easy to look at your broken pile of trash art and be like, I'm never going to be good. Look at Frank Frazetta and his fucking gladiators. And now look at my dumb, dopey scribble barbarian. And you just have to work at it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, I reckon, have a listen. If you're listening to this and you go, wow, podcasting is, these guys sound so awesome. Which I'm laughing at because I know it's not good. But also, if you listen to some of our partner podcasts, the Restricted Section, My Cabbages, Of the Eldest Gods, even, Movie Night Crew and Fandom's Gone Wrong, if you listen to those, listen to the latest episode, and then go and listen to their very first episode.
Yeah.
Because it's such a marked difference. I have, siblings who are really like, want to check out what I'm doing, don't necessarily like the fact that I have a podcast, but, want to check it out just to see what I'm up to. And they listen to the first episode and they go, well, that was shit. And I apologize to Taylor, because poor Taylor was on the first episode, and, you listen back to it, and it's really, like...
Yeah.
It's messy.
Every first episode of a podcast is really rough. And honestly, I'll say this now. I'll come out and I'll say this in front of God and country. that if you're going to check out a new podcast and you listen to the very first episode that they ever recorded and then decide whether or not you're going to continue, how dare you? You're doing that podcast a disservice. You listen to the most recent episode. Then if you like it, you go back and start from the beginning. So don't judge these people on their on their weakest thing.
The amount of changes that Christina has made from the chaos that is the first 5 or 6 episodes of the restricted section through to the really, really interesting conversations that are being had, as a part of that week, we were hearing last night, because last night they were recording, about the Yule Ball, chapter that, I'm sure will come out before this one. After this one, I'm not sure what Christina's timeline is. However, Christina remarked that it was probably one of the best conversations they had. And I really, really love that kind of stuff. But, people don't realize that we sit here and, I sit here for 3 hours per episode and edit it. Just to make sure it's good and make sure I improve from next time, because I'm constantly making mistakes.
Yeah. Well, it's, I always like to think, I'll put it this way. It would be really, really hard to do a thing every single day and not actively get better at it. That would just be a weird, anomalous thing to do a thing every single day and not get any better at it. My case in point, I play Rocket League, and I'll never get better at that game, and I don't know why. But for everything else, it's not Rocket League. You're always failing upward. It's something,
and it's got to be consistent as well. I was listening to some very fit people that I know talk about exercise, and they were sitting there and they were saying, you can't just go and do it once every week or once every few weeks. You've got to be doing it fairly consistently, whether it's every couple of days, or obviously this podcast comes out once a week, so I've only really got once a week to improve in my editing skills. But doing that, but then also actively looking for opportunities to practice my editing skills outside of the little bubble I've got at the moment. And go, I have university friends who want to create podcast-like stuff to supplement their assessment, so I sit down and help them with that. And jumping back into video editing and having a mess around with that, and keeping on my toes and doing different things, so that when I come back to my long-term projects, things like Content and Capable and journalism, I'm really, really improving and making marketed improvements.
Yeah, that's another great salient point, is diversity of things. If you want to get good at a thing and you just kick yourself and crack the whip on yourself to do it every single moment of every single day, sure, you'll get better at it, but by the time you're good enough to be viable at it, you'll just hate doing it.
Yeah.
And so I like that idea of having a diverse pool of things that you like to do. I am an illustrator. I do animation, but I also I like improv comedy. I like DMing D&D campaigns. I like hosting a podcast. All these other things are things that are still proactive. They're still adding to my skill set, but they provide a break from the monotony of honing a single craft.
Yeah, because, doing the same thing over and over again is so fucking boring. Don't get me wrong, I do it at work. That's my job. I do the same thing over and over again, and I tell the same people the same thing over and over again. And every now and then there's something happens, or some incident or something that I've got to deal with. But it gets very hard to justify why you're still there.
Very much so.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, for coming on Content and Capable. I've really, really appreciated chatting to you.
Thank you it's been so much really for having me.
Yeah, and for context, I pre-record. I don't, put this out live. But this has been recorded.
Are people listening right now? Hello?
Hello?
Are you out there?
You got any questions you want to ask?
Yeah. chat. What's the chat up to?
You know, go to one of the Movie Night Crew Network Patreons, and for $1 a month, you too can ask us annoying questions.
That's right.
But we're recording this a little bit early, and this is actually my first Content and Capable recording of 2022, which seems very awkward. Luckily, it's still in January, but I really, really appreciated chatting to you, and you know, it's been really lovely to chat on some things that I've been thinking about over the holidays.
Likewise, yeah, and you know, I just don't get. It's so hard to like find time to talk about this type of stuff because it's so esoteric, and it's like Alex will tell me about some important bill she worked on for like the you know, her the health department or whatever, and then I'm like, yeah, well, Spine updated today, and the Vertex tool that I've been using for the past 8 months is now going to be the Vertex tool that I used 9 months ago and liked better. So they've combined them. Isn't that great? And she's like, yeah. What does any of that mean?
Yeah, 100%. You know, us nerding out about Audacity changing
right.
is really, you know, anyone who, you know, does anything that isn't to do with audio visual stuff would just sit there and go, what the fuck were you talking about? But it's really important. So, is there, where can people find you on the internet?
So I am, like I said earlier, one half of My Cabbages, an Avatar podcast. If you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you like nerds, if you like people doing bits and making jokes and probably way too many soundbite drops, check out our podcast. It's a lot of fun. You can find it on Twitter at CabbageCast. I am at Cybertoaster on Twitter. I am, I believe, also at Cybertoaster on Instagram. I haven't been posting a lot on those, but I intend to start up again soon. I'm hoping to make more work in the future. And you can email the podcast at mycabbagecast@gmail.com. We're always looking to converse with people. We're always looking to talk to people. If you are... just watch the show. It's good. I'm blanking a little bit here. Listen to the show. Sorry, don't watch it, because if you try to watch our podcast, you're going to have a bad time.
All the cabbages. Has there been anything that you've been reading, watching, playing, listening to that you want to share?
I mean, you'd have to be living on a rock to not hear about this, but Arcane. Have you seen Arcane?
No, I haven't yet.
Arcane is a masterpiece. It's an incredible piece of media that I just am thankful that it exists every day of my life. It has shown in the same way that Avatar and Korra did. I think it has shown the West what they're missing when it comes to adult oriented 2D, not 2D because it's not 2D, but adult oriented animation. You know, oftentimes in America, we get shows like Family Guy or Futurama. And Futurama's great. Don't get me wrong. I love Futurama. And I love, comedic sort of adult joke. But it's basically just, a cartoon with dick jokes in it is usually what it comes down to. And Arcane is just... It's such a carefully woven story. It has such compelling, interesting characters. It has jaw-droppingly gorgeous art. I'm talking, Into the Spider-Verse, levels levels of gorgeous art, and it's just a remarkable piece of media that I am obsessing about and will continue to obsess about for many months to come.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to stand and see it. As soon as you mention Spider-Verse level animation, I'm like, "Oop, yep, cool."
Yeah, it's Forstiche. I'm blanking on the name of the French animation studio that made it, but it's based on League of Legends, which if you had told me, hey, this League of Legends cartoon is going to be your favorite fucking cartoon ever, I'd have been like, psh, get out of here with that nonsense. But it's actually very, very, very good.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to have to go check it out. Well, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at sam.the.journalist. I'm actually as of recording, trying to post a video a day, just on things in my life that are happening.
Yeah, that definitely won't become a noose that slowly saps all the oxygen out of your creativity, right? Daily, good luck. That sounds hard.
I've been on swings and roundabouts with TikTok. I think it's a really, really great platform. Hank Green put out a video a couple of weeks ago about some of the very big issues with TikTok for people who use it for a living. But I really find it hard to find traction. And someone told me the other day that I really should try being a lot more consistent, and maybe that will, reinvigorate it, because, I don't have anything exceptionally viral to talk about. It's just my life.
The thing about TikTok is I feel like you never really know what's going to explode. And that's kind of what people like about TikTok is it's like on YouTube, if you have 20 million followers and you put out a video, it kind of almost doesn't matter what it's about. If you are in it, it's going to get views. But on TikTok, you could have 15 followers and you can make a TikTok that gets 8 million views, nobody knows.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it's, it's so interesting. I really love I think it is teaching us to be a lot more concise in storytelling, and I've got things that happen in my life that people find very interesting, like the fact that my brother decided to cook a month's worth of meals the other night, and so now we're eating frozen dinners for the next foreseeable future until the meals get out of the freezer. Am I happy about it? No.
Whoa.
Am I going to have to deal with it? Yes. It's not a bad meal. It's just that now I'm eating the same thing for dinner each night. I'm like, this is not the most healthy thing.
Hang on, let me make a bingo hall-sized bowl of chili, and we'll just eat chili for the next,
It's a 15-liter pot. It is...
Oh my God.
It is not... He's not messing around. And, I don't know. I think it's interesting. It definitely means that we're not, spending as much money on dinners. I can definitely see that. But at the same time, to me, money isn't an issue. I'm yes, I understand. And, but also I'm out a lot. So I end up not eating out, but I'll, won't eat, or I'll eat a snack when I come home instead of actually eating dinner, because I'm just... Once everything starts back up again, I'm so busy that 3 to 4 nights a week, I'm just not home for dinner.
Yeah.
Which is, something that we've been discussing, going, well, what does that look like? Because I can't come home and spend, half an hour trying to defrost dinner, when I, would much prefer to just eat a snack. And so therefore the meals aren't being used. But anyway. You can also find me on Twitter at SamOBJournalist. I'm hoping to do a little bit more news content there. We're here in Australia, we're coming up to a federal election, so I'm looking at covering that a little bit more in detail. Because politics. Whoop-de-doo.
Oh boy.
And the book that I am going to recommend is Think Again by Adam Grant. I got this one for Christmas from my mother. It is a really interesting book. It's all about the power of knowing what you don't know. So acknowledging, I don't know about this. Can I learn? It's kind of passive aggressive from my mother, but I appreciate it. My mum and I have a great relationship, and her being sassy and her gift giving, I think, just adds to, how much, the more reasons why I really appreciate, her.
In my industry and your industry, in both, there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's honestly everywhere. But it's important to know what you don't know, because if you think you know a lot more than you do, you might be a Dunning-Kruger. I feel like it's like Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a Dunning-Kruger. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really it is. I definitely recommend going and checking it out. It's a relatively new book. It mentions a couple of things regarding COVID, just context stuff. But it's really interesting, and for those who think scientifically or have got a logic-based mind, it's really, really good. It sits down and works through examples and goes, if this happens, and here's what happened to someone in real life. And he talks about the founder of BlackBerry for a whole chapter. So, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Zach, and I'm definitely going to have you and Alex on, because I've now had both of you and you individually.
Yeah, we'll come on again and talk about, I don't know, we'll find something to talk about.
Find something to talk about. There's always something to talk about. That's what I love. Thank you for listening to Content and Capable. You can follow the podcast socials at Content, the letter N, Capable on Instagram and Twitter. You can send a super boring email to us through contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. The art was done by Opia. You can follow them on opia_art on Instagram. Opia is spelled OPIA. Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Nora Strauss-Riggs. You can find Nora at Kane_I, that's I as in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast. I am proud to be a part of the Movie Night Crew Network, which features Of the Eldest Gods, a chapter-by-chapter Rick Riordan pod full of myths and legends, My Cabbages, an Avatar podcast that follows the true hero of Avatar The Last Airbender, the Cabbage Cart Guy, Fandom's Gone Wrong, a show that discusses all things fandoms, the Movie Night Crew, join some friends as they react to some terrible, some meh, and some really great movies, and the Restricted section, a chapter-by-chapter Harry Potter pod with lots of spoilers all the time.
What's up, potheads? It's me, your host, Christina. Welcome to the Restricted section. No, we're not in Hogwarts. It's like a metaphor. Do you get it? Like, we're raunchy, and we get drunk, and we make sex jokes, and we have an all spoilers all the time policy. So, you know, it's like the Restricted section. I've been told that explaining jokes makes them funnier. If you've ever wondered how the Marauders map actually works, if you've ever thought that maybe Snape sometimes wears jeans, if you've ever thought that Draco and Harry are for sure in love, I mean, they're for sure in love. If you've ever had a hard time deciding who you'd rather bang, Bill or Charlie, obviously Charlie, then this podcast is for you. You don't even have to do the reading, we'll do it for you. Catch the Restricted section every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, and find us online at Restricted Section Pod.
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review it on your favourite podcatcher, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.